Hey guys, it's Christina Bina. Today I'm going to be talking about why funerals have traditions. Some traditions funerals have we carry on today, such as having flowers and wreaths. Back in the day, flowers and wreaths were usually used to mask the smell of a dying body. That's because funerals were usually held in a wake, which was at home. The reason funerals were usually held at home, or I guess wakes were held at home, were because the family wanted to make sure that the deceased was actually dead and not just in a coma. These wakes would last 3 to 4 days. Bodies can get pretty smelly in 3 to 4 days. These traditions were usually carried out before embalming came around. So yeah, that would be pretty stinky. Once the body was declared actually dead after 3 to 4 days and it had started to decay in the family's home, then they would go and bury the body in a cemetery. Over the course of these 3 to 4 days, the curtains would be drawn so no light could get in, and so that the spirit would not just escape and venture out into the neighborhood. A lot of the times mirrors were also covered. I guess there's a lot of like folklore where when somebody passes away, if there's a mirror nearby, their spirit can actually be trapped inside that mirror. Do you guys remember the movie Mirrors? I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's definitely strange. You will never look at mirrors the same way ever again. Now, once everything was ready and they were good to go and they were just about to head out to go bury their loved one, it's said that in the 19th century Americas and Europe, they made a tradition to carry bodies feet first out the door. This was to prevent the spirit from looking back into the house and trying to convince another family member to follow them into the afterlife. That's actually really creepy to think about. Could you imagine seeing your dead loved one in spirit form, like, hey, come with me, come be with me forever? That makes for like a really super creepy horror movie. If there is a movie like that, please comment down below because I would love to know about it. Have you ever heard of the term Saved by the Bell? That actually comes from funerals and graveyards. So premature burials were definitely a thing. So if somebody chose not to do a wake, they would just bury their loved one in a cemetery. With not doing a wake, you don't know for sure if they're dead or in a coma. So with not knowing, a lot of the tradition would be to bury your loved one and you would attach a chain to one of their limbs, and that chain would then be attached to a bell above ground. If they were still alive, they would move their limbs and shake this bell. Now, what's the point of a bell if nobody's there to hear it, you may ask? That's where this graveyard shift stuff came into play. The term graveyard shift literally meant watching a graveyard all night long. You're listening for bells during a graveyard shift. Just because so many people were found to be buried alive, they needed somebody to sit there and listen for these bells to make sure that nobody was buried alive. Wouldn't it be super creepy if you were just like passing by a graveyard on your way home and you heard bells ringing? Because this tradition, it's not carried out anymore. We have all the technology now to make sure that somebody has actually passed away. So how creepy would that be to walk past a cemetery and hear bells ringing? If you guys want me to go to my oldest cemetery in town at night and sit and see if we can hear bells, definitely give this video a thumbs up and I will drag one of my friends with me and we will go see if we can hear bells. Some cemeteries would bury a dog before any person was allowed to be buried on the property. The dog would help people cross into the afterlife. That actually sounds kind of cruel. Like, do we know if these dogs were actually like deceased first, or were they like creepily massacring dogs to bury in graveyards? Anyways, that concludes this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so so you can be notified the next time one of my stories goes up. And definitely give this video a like if you want me to go sit in a really creepy cemetery and listen for bells. I've also decided to leave the naming of the plants up for one more week just because I want a little bit more feedback. So don't forget to head over to my Instagram page, check out those pictures, and comment a name that I should be naming my plants. But thanks for watching. Bye!